Hello and welcome to Transformation Now. Hi, I'm Rita, rocker, speaker, author, trainer with SoaringHigher.rocks, and I'm happy to continue on a program today just talking about a lot of things from my new book, Miracle in Your Mirror, Pursuing Your Passion at Any Age. And again, you know, when I first wrote this, it was mainly directed towards women of like over 50. And then after talking to some underprivileged high school students, I thought, oh, heck no, that could be a younger person too, pursuing their passion at any age. It doesn't matter if they're young and everybody else that has achieved something has had a lot more years of experience. Oh no, no, that's how we get where we want to go. And so it's all about creating your life, changing your life in so many ways. My life has changed dramatically, still needs a long way to go. But we work through those things. We keep going forward. I want to achieve what God's called me to do before I go home. And I just want to encourage you to do the same thing. And you'd be amazed at the transformation that can happen in your life, especially if you're having a rough time of things. And so I was just, the last program, talking about actions to ignite your success. And they were like stopping what you're doing, dropping assumptions, stopping the way you do things presently, I'll put it that way, if there are things that need to be changed, dropping assumptions that we have that may not be true, expecting success and good to happen, giving without expectation for anything in return to other people, believing in the world in abundance and believing in achieving those things that you want, thanking people who are generous, thanking yourself for what you are doing as well. And so think about all of those. Visualizing your goals is extremely important, and I've talked about that, and you can find so many programs about visualizing your goals. And as you continue to visualize being in that place you want to be, whether it's a coach or a sports person or a winner of a pageant or, America's Got Talent, oh my gosh, I've seen so many programs on there where these people had really menial jobs and they were unbelievably creative and talented. And so again, visualizing is critically important. And then asking for help when you really need it, not just because you don't want to do something, but asking for help is fine. We all need to do that. Some of us don't like to do that. So we do things on our own that we really needed help with. And so you are worthy to get help when you need it. And then I'll start here then with creating is the next one to ignite success. And I always think of Helen Keller and my gosh, being born blind and deaf. Just stop and think about that for a second. Blind and deaf. You can't see, but you also can't hear. So you're in this dark world of nothingness. And yet this lady named Annie worked with her. Somehow she did things with hands, taught her letters, manipulating, signs on her hands. And, Helen Keller became internationally known. I believe she wrote a book. She was in with the aristocratic group sometime. I'm just amazed. I marvel at that. I don't know how that happened, but then she ended up being very grateful. She was able to communicate with the world and really help people as far as motivating them. And I'm still astounded by how do you do that when you cannot hear or see? But her whole life, she ended up being grateful and making a huge impact on people. So if she can do that, I don't see how there's anything that we can really stop doing that is towards the goals that we want to take. And so, create what is good in your world. And we're all different. And sometimes people have to, like a parent might try to live vicariously through a child. And so, maybe it's a young man and he's more of a nerd and he's very, and I mean that as a compliment, very technical, very creative. He have a good mind, or maybe it's a good math mind or analytical mind. And yet the dad, just as an example, maybe wanted to be a football star or, basketball or something like that. And so it's like expecting the son to follow his footsteps and be a successful sports person. And this kid's like, that's not me. I don't have any desire for that. And sometimes they are kind of bullied into taking a route that's not them. We have to do what our gifts are, and I'll share some of those in just a minute. So think about that too. New art. Maybe you like art. Maybe you're really creative in art, and you should go in a direction, whether it's an advertising agency or something to do with art and your gifts, no matter what someone else has said, because you have to look through the lens of your own life's glasses, not somebody else's. And a lot of times that happens, where maybe even a school counselor has said, well, you need to get a labor job because that's your gift. It's like, no, I'm not, and he ends up being a doctor. I've shared that a few times. And then the counselor who told him, you need to be a labor job, because he came from Cuba and he didn't know English at first. Well, of course not. And then I always thought it was funny when it's not really funny, but when the guy that told this student that he needed to have a labor type job, which nothing wrong with that. That is awesome. That's very honorable. But then when he's in the emergency room at a hospital, he runs into the doctor that he told that to many years ago. And, so many times people will say, well, you better not do that. And I was struggling the other night because I was working as an ambassador at the Orpheum Theater, and it was just awesome. You meet all kinds of new people, but I was struggling a little bit, not feeling very well. And this one guy said, well, maybe this isn't for you. If you have Meniere's disease and you get dizzy and you kind of get off balance and nauseous, maybe you shouldn't be doing this. And I thought, no, I've struggled enough with stuff. Yeah, I'm going to do this. I don't care how I feel. And so sometimes, even if someone says something to us that you shouldn't be doing that, well, what are you doing? You're not capable, or whatever the case may be. It's like, no, I'm going to do what I set my mind to do, and you're not going to tell me any different. And that could be, the same attitude with a coach, with a school counselor, with an adult counselor, with a parent, teacher, whatever. I mean, obviously, to do things in a very positive way, not to do things in a rebellious way. But, we create our world by what we're thinking and doing and how we help other people. And so it could be art, it could be a new project. Well, what's a new project? Maybe you like art, or maybe you like to sew, and you could create designs, or you could be a tailor for people so their clothes fit nicely, and whatever the case may be. That could be a new project, actually. You like to build things. Maybe you've always liked to do Legos, and you saw real talent for Legos, but didn't you think, well, I guess I'm going to just do this one job over here I really don't like. Well, can you work towards, with some help and good grades and study, being an architect, or being something to do with building, because that's what you like to do with your hands all the time. You just build things. Or maybe come up with something for work, a way that helps people to be more together, building teams, or coming up with ideas to help each other to get a project out on time. So there's so many things you can do. New projects. What kind of a project could you do? Would you like to do? I like to work with people. I'm working on trying to get back into doing more speaking and training programs. And so those can be projects as well. So what is it with you? Maybe you see that there's a neighbor, it could be your neighborhood or something close by, and most of the people are struggling right now with their finances and stuff. And so maybe your project would be getting people together for like a block party. Everybody brings something, they meet in the middle of the street, whatever you can do. And then they start sharing with each other what their talents are and their gifts and what they're interested in. And barter. If they need to barter for financial reasons, and one's good at math, good at checkbooks and all this kind of stuff. Another one is good at baking, sewing, lawn work, whatever the case may be. And so that would be a good project. Think about projects that you could do that would bring life to you and life to other people at the same time. And so just creating new thoughts, like, yeah, I'd really like to do that, but I don't think I can. I'm too old, or I'm too young, or I'm whatever. No, that's not true. And so new thoughts, new writing. Do you like to write? I love to write. I've had 5 books and co-authored 12, but I just love doing it. And then when I go back and look at it, it's like, oh, yeah, there's a lot of things in here that are encouraging me, practice what I preach. And so, maybe you like to write. Music. I know several people that are very gifted writing music, playing music, and music, well, music could be destructive, but a lot of music really blesses you, builds up your soul. It's Could be relaxing, comfortable, it could be fun. So what can you do to bring joy to yourself, but also other people if you're gifted in the area of music, for instance? And just new fun in your life. I'd like to maybe try some archery or something like that, because every time you do something where you have a target, you're going to focus on that, and you're going to let go of everything else that's going on in life. You're just busy focusing on something that you really need to focus on. And I found out just, you know, in my own life, when I'm doing things where I have to focus, it really helps. It really helps to get your mind off other things, and you feel better when you're through with it. Art, you know, when I was at high school a while back and talking on gender roles, and I looked at some of the art on the wall by the station in the middle of the high school where they have security and everything. It was obviously a female, and it was a charcoal. And there were about 4 pictures of sort of herself. And they were really dark, and hair was stringy and hanging, you know, face down and looking real empty. And then I started looking at the eyes of a lot of the kids as I was going through the halls, and it broke my heart, because I thought there's so much emptiness here. So many of these people that need to be loved on, that need to be encouraged. And that's what I did with the students that I talked to. But that was a message given through art. And so even with art, a lot of times we can create something that's really beautiful, that's comforting, that's fun, that make us laugh, or maybe just want to stare at it because it's so gorgeous and it's so serene. And so think of that. What can you give to someone if you're gifted in the areas of art? You know, so think about those types of things where you can just really create something that is what you're talented in, and that can not only build you up, but give to other people as well. And so, you know, and if you need new friends to get involved in some of these new things, ask God. God has been faithful to give me new friends every time I've needed it, because as we go through life, life changes. People get married, they get divorced, they get widowed, they move to another town where they're not in a familiar area anymore. They just start believing in different things, going a different direction, have different interests. And so yes, every so often, you know, it's wonderful when we have a friend that we've known for years and years and years. That's a blessing. But we also sometimes have to pray for new friends, because life is changing. And do it, because God has been faithful to always bring me new friends when I've asked him, because of changes in life. And so you can do that too. As you're creating your new life, pray for friends that are involved maybe in the same kind of sport or music or whatever the case may be. And it will happen. If you trust him, it will happen. So then another one is laugh. Laughter is like medicine. And the Bible even says a merry heart is good like a medicine. And I've seen stories of where people who were extremely ill were kind of giving up on things, but you know, so they'd lay in bed and they would watch comedy, hours after hours of comedy where they would laugh, and it actually helped to heal their bodies. And so laughter is good medicine. I don't mean silly dingy things, but there's so many things that you do feel better. If you laugh so hard, you get tears running down your cheeks, that's a good thing. It relieves stress, and it helps just pull us away from things that are a little troubling at the time. And so I would encourage you to find, you know, good things for laughter that would really help build up your spirits and take some stress off. So laughter is good. I mean, you know, exercise is really good too, to de-stress, to lower the cortisol stress levels and all of that. But laughter, and you know, sometimes we can laugh at ourselves as well. You know, we don't want to just laugh and make fun of somebody. I don't mean that at all, or ourselves. But laughter helps. Sometimes just laughing at something that was silly that we did. You know, I can think of one, well, I can think of more incidences, but where I was going to speak to some women's groups out of town. And so I had done some laundry, and I had this real sheer little, it was like a raincoat, but it was real thin and sheer. And it was very lightweight, so I had washed it in washing machine with some under things. All right, so then it was just a little bit cool, a little bit sprinkly. I had gone with my husband at the time to a Chinese restaurant. And so as I was getting up to leave, I threw that coat over my arm and I walked from one end of the restaurant all the way through this big restaurant towards the door. And I happened to look over about halfway through the path that I had just gone. And somehow a pair of my underwear had gotten stuck to the coat and it was literally laying on the floor in the restaurant. And I was like, oh God, what do I do? Do I just keep walking like I didn't see it? It's not mine. I don't know what happened. But I went back and I picked it up right quick and I, hustled out the door. And I thought, yeah, I felt really silly. But I had to laugh later and laugh at myself for not catching that, static cling. And, sometimes just something even silly like that, just laugh at it and have fun with it and go, okay, so it happened. It's no big deal. But laughter does help a lot. So try to incorporate some of that in your life as well. And so then, do something, do anything, like my niece, okay, I'm going to get up, I'm going to take my walk, I'm going to go out to the car and walk back, and then I'm going to walk the hall. So I'm doing something to try to get myself back on my feet where I can use a cane and I don't have to use a walker. And she's several years younger than I am. So anyway, do something, do anything. Sometimes, we get in such a funk and we're just going to stay in front of the TV, sit on the couch, whatever we can get by with doing, and instead, move forward. Take a walk or go to a library, go to the mall. Not that you maybe can afford to buy anything, but just start looking at other things and take your focus off. Clean up, fix hair, do makeup, do things, call a friend, just try to go get a cup of coffee somewhere else. So just anything to get out of where you are right now. So that means doing anything to move you forward, to put a little energy and, get up and do 5 minutes of calisthenics and stretching while you're watching TV. At least that's something to move forward and put a little bit of energy back in your life. When I see Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi and they're doing these huge, several thousand people that are online, and you can see a lot of them there, and they always say, okay, get up, and he's doing all these crazy things, and he's having people dance around and do all this stuff, and because he's trying to get the blood flowing, the energy going after they've been sitting there listening to something for a long time. And sometimes, if you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm just so tired and sluggish, no, at least get up, move around, have a little fun. Turn on some dance music. 70s and 80s music is the best as far as I'm concerned. And, you could even just go to YouTube, turn on some 70s music, and just, especially when you're by yourself, just some exercise and you get the blood flowing and it makes you happy. And then you can sit down and concentrate on the computer or do whatever you need to do. So I would highly encourage that. That can be fun and it gets your blood flowing and you feel better. So you want to do that too. So doing something, do anything that will help get you more physically and mentally active is good. And not allowing yourself to become stagnant. It's real easy to become stagnant, and we don't want to do that. Time's too short. There's too much to do. Okay, and then forgiving. And so many of us have that. I see so much now in the world where it's just really hard, where families are all split, and you can't see your grandkids, and you can't do this, we don't want anything to do with you. I'm seeing it everywhere, and I know several people that that's happening to. And it's just, we need to forgive each other for so many things that have happened. And, when I think even of the Bible, and I won't get into that, people that were tortured to death, let's forgive them, Lord, they don't know what they're doing. And so I just really encourage you in that, a lot of times we have so much against ourselves. We have unforgiveness towards ourselves. I did for a long time. Or there's, unforgiveness against someone who just really, really hurt us, really devastated us. It's like, nope, I don't want to forgive. I can't forgive. Why should I? And it's kind of like one time when I heard this minister saying, unforgiveness is like a bird dropping one on your nose, and you got to go through the car wash and wash it off, because all we see in life, everything else is going on in life, but we're so angry because all we see is that unforgiveness right on the end of our nose. That's all we can see. We don't see all the beauty and the things and the opportunities around us because we're so full of anger and unforgiveness. It holds us in bondage. When we don't forgive, who does it hold in bondage? Who is it hurting? Not them. It's hurting us. And so think about that. And God taught me a long time ago, I've shared this before, if you have unforgiveness towards yourself, it's like, Lord, would you please show me, how do I look through your eyes? Show me how I look through your eyes. And he will show you someone very different than what you see when you look at yourself in the mirror, and maybe the mistakes you've made, all of that. And then he taught me a lady who had, we spoke to at a Women for Christ conference in Chicago. This was many years ago. And she did some things that were really awful after that. And we parted ways. And I just, okay, I forgive her. And I wanted to, but I couldn't. And it kept popping up, every so often, year after year. And I thought, I got to get rid of this, because it's not, I can't do this. And so the Lord had really impressed upon me, ask me to forgive her through you. I said, Lord, I want to forgive her, but I don't think I have the ability on my own. Ask me to forgive her through you. I hadn't seen her in years. And so I said, okay, Father, just please forgive. And I mentioned her name, through me. I'm asking you to do it through me. 2 weeks later, I hadn't seen her in years. 2 weeks later, who do I run into? That woman. It was all gone. I had no more anger, no more unforgiveness, no more anything. It was just gone. And so if you only remember one thing I say in this program, let it be that, is that you can ask God and he will do it through you. He will help you see yourself through his eyes. He will help you see someone else's life through your eyes. Why do they act like this all the time? Why are they so mean? And it's like, Lord, help me to see this person through your eyes. And he can show you things about this person, what they've been through, what's happened to them, that really can change your mind and be merciful or be kind or forgiving or whatever the case may be. And I don't know, I don't follow Elon Musk, and I'm not going to get into that at all. But I understand from everything I've heard that he had a very brutal childhood in South Africa, and how he was treated by family and everybody around him. It was always getting beat up and everything. And it really gave me a new compassion for him, standing up and being strong and moving forward, even though life just kicked him one way or another for years and years and years. And so a lot of times that's what happens. And a lot of times when somebody's angry, the root cause is actually pain or unforgiveness. It's hurt. That's usually a lot of times the root cause of anger. So we have to think of that too. Why are they always so angry? Well, it could be that something has happened in their lives that just really tore them up. And so they're angry at life in general. So think of that. That's the people that really need to be loved on. And sometimes when that happens, they totally transform. Because I remember when I was doing street ministry down in the old market, when it used to be the Leahy Mall, and I was partnered up with a guy from the same Teen Challenge Ministries. And we came across an elderly gentleman, and he was sitting on the steps of where the library used to be. And he was really angry. He didn't want to talk to us. And we just wanted to talk to him about the Lord, but he just was really crabby with us and wanted us to leave. So we walked away, and I said, Joe, this man is hungry. He's hungry. We need to show God's love to him. So we went down the old market, Subway sandwich and chips and a drink and a bunch of stuff. And we came back to him, and he was still sitting on the steps. And we said, here, this is from the Lord. He loves you. And he looked up at us, and he smiled, and he said, oh, God bless you. I haven't eaten hardly anything in the last 3 days. My heart just broke for him. And we were able to help him, and Joe was able to help him. He'd gotten a welfare check or whatever it was stolen, I guess. And you could tell he wasn't the type that was just going to throw you a line of bologna. And, so sometimes I've given homeless people my lunch several times when I worked downtown, because I wanted to, and that's what God led me to do. And so think about that as far as giving and showing love to people that are hurting. And again, I've seen testimony after testimony of people that were ready to commit suicide. Somebody happened to call, or something happened that was very unusual, and because of that, they stopped. And they moved forward in their lives. So if you feel ever led to do something like that, do it. Because a lot of times it's going to make, I know that sounds dramatic, but life or death matter, or really transforming someone's life because of getting a little love, getting a little appreciation, getting the help that they need at the time. And so then the next one then, and I'll just go on with a couple minutes, is be the success you want now. Be the success that you want. That might mean changing communication skills, learning better communication skills, cleaning up, dressing a little bit differently, acting more cool and just mellow, I should say, and not, instead of being loud and boisterous, for instance, things like that. So act enthusiastic and you'll be enthusiastic. I heard a professor say that in the class I was in one time. I was like, wow, that makes so much, yeah, act enthusiastic, and that'll actually make you be enthusiastic. Play the part, look the part. If you want a particular job, a particular career, and you watch how they dress, you watch how they communicate, you watch how they act, how any leadership skills they have, those are the ones you want to act that. You want to be that success, you have to act that part until it literally becomes that part of you. But you've done it so much that it's actually now ingrained in you and you become that success because you haven't given up. We change our appearance, we change our manners, we can change so many things. Go to consignment stores and get some new clothes. That's where I shop. Works. So I will continue on from there next time. I wish you all the best. God bless you, and go forward and rise.